on the audits of recovered stolen assets, Mr. Mohammed M. Nami, as the new executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. He's replaced Mr. Babatunde Fowler, who was appointed in 2015. Mr. Fowler could have been renewed for another term as the head of FIRS, but he was not renewed. President Buhari chose to replace him. And so now I want us to discuss this Mr. Nami who is coming in, what to expect from him, but also, and Christian and I were having a little back and forth downstairs, Lagos, I also want you guys involved as well. The tenure of Mr. Fowler as the head of the FIRS, the revenues that were generated. Also, if you're following budgets, BUDGITNG, Budget ND, they have a great breakdown of the revenues, I think from 2000 or so, or even beyond, of yearly revenues of the FIRS. So if you're on Twitter, we've already retweeted it on the Smooth FM handle. You go on Twitter and check out all the revenue breakdowns. So gentlemen, where shall we start? Again, Mr. Nami, his qualifications are he's got accounting degrees. He seems pretty sound. What do we expect here? And of course, he has to be confirmed by the Senate along with the new board as well. What do you think?
Yeah, that's quite important to note. His appointment has been, confirmed by the Senate.
Okay.
Yeah. Until that's done, it's not substantive.
Okay.
If feelers from investors are anything to go by, I'll tell you, I'll be forthright. There's not a lot of excitement out there over this appointment.
Okay.
And it's for a couple of reasons. Now, aside the new FIRS chairman's time at PKF, a private audit firm, there's not so much that can be said as to his pedigree, right? Given Nigeria's situation at this time, one would expect that whoever it is that's going to become the new FIRS chairman would be someone who has a bit of public experience in tax,
okay,
right?
Okay.
Private experience is good, but it's just not the same thing as government experience. We're heading towards an environment where, the major source of our revenues as a country, which is oil, may be declining in the coming years, and we're looking towards increasing the tax base. This is the time when you need the best hands.
Okay.
I'm not alluding to anything, but I'm just saying that the excitement that we're getting, the feelers that we're getting from the investing public and even foreign investors is not too much excitement.
But again,
it's neither here nor there. Really.
But just to be, he is a trained tax accounting and management professional. He has the requisite degrees and all that, right? He does. But again, I'm supposed to put that out there.
Put in perspective, he worked at PKF, it's an audit firm.
Yes.
They're into a lot of, more often the time, they're into public sector accounting. They do a lot of, they have presence in Lagos and Abuja.
Okay.
I think the most of it is in Abuja, where they do a lot of engagement for government.
Okay.
Now, for me, it's not about pedigree. Someone can grow into a role.
Okay.
The most important thing is the advice. Which advice does he get, and which one does he take? Is he willing to learn? Is he willing to do the forthright initiatives necessary, which Mr. Fowler has really most of the time has taken initiative to do. You can see from Mr. Fowler's achievements that highest revenue in 2018 of around 5.3 trillion, which bulk of it coming from non-sector. Is he going to toe that line? Is he going to, what's the new things he's going to do? I think the most important thing is the team he surrounds himself with. That's necessary for him to achieve whatever he wants to achieve.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead.
Well, whilst I agree with you, Nwanne, I'm concerned that particularly at this time when we are making supposedly concerted efforts to increase tax revenues, we're running tests, because this is, for me, more or less like a test. Fowler was in LIRS. He was as chairman of LIRS. He did well. Give that to him. And then as FIRS, FIRS chairman, he hasn't done badly at all. And then he's put structure in place to see to our projected revenues from taxation. I don't see why this is the best time. I don't see how this is the best time to test somebody new and who's probably going to come in with this, because there's going to be a new board, right?
Yeah. In fact,
it might take him a while.
Can we?
And then we don't have a while, frankly.
Right,
as a nation, we don't have a while.
In 6 months, you will up and running.
I don't know that. I don't know that you learn the ropes, considering the fact that you haven't been in public service. You don't learn the rope in 6 months. It's a completely different ball game, Nwanne.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
good
private
point.
and public.
Can we please, and I know this can be changed, can we talk about the act for a second? This requirement that a brand new board has to be inaugurated, why couldn't you just leave the existing board and just change the person at the top? I know nothing can change. The act is the act, but do you both see the issue I have with completely sweeping aside a new board and then starting completely afresh? Or are you okay with where the FIRS Act that calls for this?
For me, I think I don't know. Whoever, when they created the act, it should be an issue of ensuring maybe fresh minds or something. I don't know. There should be a reason behind it, but
Okay,
I'm not totally against it.
Well, even for private firms, typically when you have like a new MD, especially for like the banks, right? It's typical to have like the board refreshed. So I'm not too surprised that this act is also the same thing for the FIRS. It's important that you have people you can work with as a head of such a parastatal. Again, goes to question the reason why this is the best time for us to get fresh people into the system. We already have a system that's up and running and so far has proved to be efficient. I mean, why rock the boat?
All right, Yinka has a message here. Who is PKF? Are they among the big four or being a big five? What they do is accounting for government, something we know they probably lobby to get. You see, Nigeria is at a level where some offices should be filled by some certain sort of people from certain places. Ex-LRS boss or former senior staff of the big four should be a prerequisite. I'm sorry, but those ones are proven. That's from Yinka. Yinka, thank you for that. Finally, okay. Nwanne, thank you for mentioning the fact that we had 5-point-something trillion in revenue from the FIRS.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, my critique here, and this is something other people have raised, is that in dollar terms, if you check from when he first came in 2015 versus this last year, it's if you convert that 155 to 360, the money we brought in really hasn't moved.
It's not his making.
Well,
his own is to tax and expand the tax base.
Okay, but then so does that mean that if we made you FIRS chairman and all you do is sit there and just tax oil, because petroleum profit tax that most of revenues came from, Abi?
Yeah, no, it came from there, but then he grew the non-oil
significantly. He did.
So you think his tenure was successful?
Yeah. I mean, by several measures, yes.
Oh, okay.
He didn't do badly at all as a FIRS chairman.
No, you cannot take the fact that he's not in control of exchange rate mechanism.
Okay.
So his own is to ensure that there's a revenue for government in terms of that, and it's coming in, and then at that he's doing his best.
All right. Okay. So Lagos, give
us growing it significantly.
Okay. Again,
with exception to 2016.
2016 wasn't his fault. That's when we had the devaluation.
Was
a bad year
recession.
For the country.
Hey, Bolarewa sends in a message. Shout out to Bolarewa. Also another member of the Horsemen. I said I really saw it coming that his tenure would not be renewed. Remember the query he got some few months ago that he didn't meet his revenue targets. That's another thing that came up. Wait, let me finish Bolarewa's message. Remember the query he got from a few months ago that he didn't meet his revenue targets. It was just a way of preparing a case for his exit. I think Fowler did pretty well and leveraged on his experience. Oga should have renewed his tenure for him to consolidate the strategy he implemented in the first term. I see this new guy simply as an administrator rather than a strategist. Thank you for that, Bolarewa.
Just to point out something. When you're setting budget for the year, you have to be realistic.
Yes.
You don't also can set a tall order for someone that sometimes maybe it's not realistic or it's not achievable. So I'm guessing that's what Nigeria will just each year putting X percent go up. Let us keep going and going up. Meanwhile, if you look at over the trend, what has been done, it will never met those targets.
Tunde, who is a namesake of the ex FIRS chairman, sends in a message. Says, "Hi Rotus, I beg let Fowler go, Jerry. While we kept clamoring he should increase the tax net, all he did was chase already paying taxpayers aggressively. This is something let me not shout. After all, the first thing he did was to share jobs to his friends." That's from Tunde. I'm not the one that said it. Tunde, thanks for your message. In dollar terms, yes, but compared to the dollar term of the economy too, for fairness. That's from Ni. Okay, Ni, I think I see where you're coming from. Yinka, again, I don't know much about FIRS operations, but my friends over there said Fowler hasn't done bad. The problem sometimes is such offices have been politicized. The dangers of politicizing some offices is that you end up having stooges. They wait for the body language of the president or trying to be a good boy. Okay, Yinka, thank you for that message as well. Okay, so let's move on from that. EFInA, the Enhancing Financial Innovation and Access Group from the UK, are saying that over 100 million Nigerians earn less than 700 naira daily. They disclosed this in a survey report that they released on Monday in Lagos. Guys, what I mean, are we stating the obvious? So that's over half the population if we're 200 million. So probably the numbers are not looking good.
Yes. Interestingly, the article says that the unemployment rate stands at 23%. I do not know how that correct is. How much?
That when? That's
exactly.
Yeah,
so it's not. If it's a recent article, then it's not correct. If it's the data is dated, then it's not correct. And that's like Rotus said, it's about 50% of the population. It's attributed the financial inclusion challenge amongst women to low income and education, lower levels of income, education in rural areas. So what it's saying basically is that education levels in rural areas are really low, and that's translated to lower levels of income for women and increased poverty levels. Not surprising, it's rather stating the obvious. I'm not. I mean, it's not a good thing that we have less than about 50% of the population earning 700 naira a day. That's poor. That's pathetic, really. What particularly concerns me is what you can do with 700 naira.
Right.
So even if you earn 2,000 naira, it's what you can do with it. It's not so much about how much you earn. What can that money do for you? So even if they were to earn tomorrow, say they increase minimum wage or something happens, like a miracle happens, and then it goes up to 5,000 naira a day, what can 5,000 naira do for you? That's the big question.
And then the key thing in dollar terms.
Exactly. Right? What can it do for you?
Right. Speaking of dollar terms, last time you were here, when you mentioned your Cordros fund, when we were talking about the USD, people were asking for your Twitter handle in order to get more information, but you didn't want to give it out. Because anyway, I've tweeted it. If you want to see his funny sounding name of Christian's Twitter handle, go check it out. But I had this question. In fact, Olu Afolarimi sent this to me on Twitter. I said, "Dear Rotan quote, kindly suggest firms with good interest rates that I can plan my savings with next year. Savings with most banks not quite rewarding, and I need to save for my boy despite current income levels." So we want to get more detail about the Cordros, the USD fund. So can you give us some information on that for the listeners? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's so the Cordros Dollar Fund is an open-ended mutual fund. Basically, it was launched last week. The idea is to give investors an opportunity to diversify currency. If you are conversant with what's been going on in the Nigerian economy, inflation has been inching up gradually in the last 2 months.
Thanks to border closure.
Exactly. And then, I mean, if things continue like this, we're probably going to see 12% by early next year. If you juxtapose that with your 1 year risk-free instrument, which is the Treasury bill, sub 9.
Yep.
So you're basically, if you buy a Treasury bill and inflation is at 12, your negative really your return on investments, real return on investments is actually negative. But if you put it in perspective, if you were to invest in a dollar fund like the Cordros Dollar Fund, you potentially have the opportunity to hedge against the possible, devaluation. I mean, it's time that we start to have these conversations.
Yeah.
The possible devaluation.
And we've mentioned it several times on this show.
Yes, and then you also earn. The good thing is you're not just buying dollars and keeping in your house, and it's not returning anything for you. You're earning something between 4 to 6%, which is our projection.
Okay.
It's liquid, so you can go in and out. It's a mutual fund, right? So you can go in and out as you will. So, there's a lock-in period of about 180 days.
Okay. Who's the fund meant for?
Really for everybody. Anybody who has dollar obligations, anybody who's looking to hedge against a possible currency devaluation, and also earn something decent on your currency holdings instead of just keeping it away in your house.
I remember you asked what the minimum investment was, have you? Yes. Yeah. So what is the minimum investment?
So the minimum investment is just $500.
That's about
about 180,000.
180K.
Yes.
Okay. And then how does one go about investing in the fund?
Okay, so you can reach out to us at Cordros. You can tweet at us at Cordros Capital.
No, give us your own handle. What about your own?
Cordros Capital is the best handle to reach out to us at.
Okay, okay. So what is it? Cordros at
Cordros Capital. Yes. Okay. I mean, once you tweet, someone's going to respond to you immediately. You can also check us out on our website, assetmanagement@cordros.com, or alternatively, you can send us an email at wealthadvisor.cordros.com. Our telephone numbers are 019049041, 019049042.
So you want to protect people?
Actually, I think there are also other asset management firms too. So in case you are just looking out, you just not look out for only just one. You can do comparison.
But these guys, they are the ones that have. Christian has been. He's talking about this fund for quite a while. But today is the first time that he has actually given us details. So, Olu, I hope that you've gotten the information that you're looking for. And again, you say it's a mutual fund, so it's
open-ended.
Open-ended as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Minimum investments $500.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look,
projected returns 4 to 6%.
I think we should
versus your 7% in naira.
In naira terms. One more thing: if the devaluation is to happen, is when we look at first quarter of next year or second. If or big if.
We have authorities that are handling all this.
You and your political answer.
We have authorities that are handling.
I think it's second quarter of the year. I don't know why.
You cannot just those actions. We're not the monetary policy committee members or something of such. So we don't know whether or not they want to free up the exchange rate or make it.
See, speaking of which, okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, the CBN has alluded to the fact that there will be no devaluation until we touch $30 billion.
Thank you for
mentioning in foreign reserves. Yes.
Lagos, I'm going to share a chart. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. It's Nonso. He chatted this thing. Yeah, he's been on the show before. He took the what's it called, obligations, CBN obligations, and he backed out the dollars. He backed out almost. I think he took out Euro bonds. He took out, I can't remember what else he took out. You think right now, if you're removing those things, it is about 29 billion. I'm telling you, I'll show you the chart. No, I'm careful. I know. It's only 30 something billion. Wait, what are we at? 39?
Yeah, 39.
39 billion. But I'll share the charts on Twitter so you guys can take a look. He drew another line and then back to that. So what we really have, I know, we'll see. But back again. So no predictions as to if it happens, when it will take place next year. No predictions.
No. But typically there are no signals to this thing. You can typically just watch the foreign reserves. I mean, I think that once we get to 35.
Yeah.
People will start to buy and hoard. Start to buy dollars and hoard. But instead of just keeping it in your house, invest in the Cordros Dollar Mutual Fund.
All right. I think Valentine is giving us the air traffic control signal. So Christian, thank you so much for joining us. Nwanne, thank you so much. Again, we'll have the video out. So if you want to get information on the Cordros Dollar Fund, you can watch the video again and get those details. Lagos, that'll do it. I'll share that chart, please. I want everybody to see that chart. That's Business Express for today. We will see you tomorrow. What's this new device that you have?